Well, this is Alan, Lonely Bookshelf. I'm here with the book shelf tour, continuing, and last shelf, this bookcase behind me, just a couple of books. So let's get started. This one I had a video review about. This is Niccolo Ammanati as God Commands. This was, of course, put out by Black Hat Publishing. It was actually translated. Let me see. Turn the page here. See if it's translated. Yeah, first published in Italy. This is the first edition of this paperback book. It was translated by Jonathan Hutt in 2009. So that's got commands. The next one is if you go to Google conservative books or right wing books or any type of right wing conservative type books, this book would come up. This is witnessed by Whitaker Chambers. Whitaker Chambers was a editor of Time magazine. He was also a communist. He was also a spy working in the United States. This is basically his autobiography, and this was printed in 1952 by Random House in New York, and it was in 1949. And he says here on Sunday, August 1st, 1948, sitting in his office, 29th floor, Time and Life building, telephone rang and Washington was calling, and David Sensor at the Washington Bureau wanted to speak to him. And he said that he was wondering why he was subpoenaed by the House Committee on American Activities. And when he was in there, in his case, Alger Hiss was actually working in the State Department there in Washington, D.C. And he said that it says here that Karl Marx wrote that the great scenes of history are always I can't think this word up enacted twice. So Karl Marx wrote that the great scenes of history are always enacted twice. The first time in tragedy, and the second time as comedy. His case reverses the Marxian order. And this was a case that got a lot of attention back in 1949. One of the persons that was on the committee was Richard Nixon. And Richard Nixon used his case, the Alger Hiss case, as a springboard to go on to run for the Senate and run for and was picked by Eisenhower as he goes off to attack the communists. And he says in here that it was Alger Hiss who was in the State Department. And there's a long dialogue between the two, between Alger Hiss and person on the committee. And there's a lot of recording here. So, yeah, this book is very good. It's more like an autobiography, to his truth. And here's a line here, and it's written in Latin, and it says, "Whatever is hidden shall be brought out; nothing shall remain unpublished." And yeah, and this is a very good book. Passed away in 1959, I believe. But Matt Buckley loved this book because it exposes communism, exposes Marxism, exposes socialism, and attacks the spies that were in committee. And did I mention that Alger Hiss was in the State Department, and that President Truman said that the House Un-American Activities Committee was nothing more than a red herring. So this is witnessed by Whitaker Chambers. The next books are all by the same author, and this basically is what he calls his the Asian Saga series. And so it started off with the Shogun, a novel of Japan by James Clavell. And this was a miniseries back in early 1980s on TV. Started on Sunday for 2 hours and go for an entire week. And with Richard Chamberlain. And this is actually it says here it was printed in 1979 by Antietam Publishing out of New York, and this is like the 14th printing of this book because it originally came out. It originally came out that year, 1975 was the first printing. So it's a battered dust cover, but that's okay. The next one by James Clavell I read 2 years ago for March of the Mammoths, and this one was Gaijin. And Gaijin is actually the third book in the Asian Saga series. You have Shogun, Taipan, Gaijin, King Rat, Noble House, and Whirlwind. So Shogun was the first one, then Taipan, which I have over here. I'll show it in a minute. But this one was based on an incident that actually happened in Japan when the British foreigners were attacked. And the British wants to an attack on the Japanese. And it's over 1,000 pages. So it was about 1,075 pages. Or 1,080 pages. And I didn't care for the ending of this. It was anticlimactic because you had all these Shogun riders, you had the British getting up there, you had the foreigners there, you had other Shogun who's trying to take over to be the Lord Shogun, and it was anticlimactic basically was the ending. The next one is, and I mentioned this, another paperback. This is Taipan. I have not read this one yet. And yeah, this one is, let me check just a moment. Would I say this one? Yeah, this one comes right after Shogun. Yeah, this one comes right after Shogun. And it says Asian Saga Series 1841 on the side. And as I said, I have not read this one yet. It's a lot shorter. It's only 870 pages. So, yeah, and here's the chronology for the Asian Saga series. Shogun, 1600, Taipan, 1841, Gaijin, 1862, King Rat, which I don't have, 1945, Noble House, which I do have, 1963, and Whirlwind, which I don't have. This is the Blackstone Publishing. Copyright 1966 and published in 2019 by Blackstone Publishing. Okay, the last book I have in the series, Asian Saga series, another paperback. Shogun's the only one I have in hardback. And this is Noble House. This is the, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th book in the Asian Saga series. And this one comes after King Rat, which I don't have. And right before Whirlwind, which I don't have. And this one is long. It's over, in fact, it's 1,370 pages. It's actually bigger, page-wise, than this one. That's a bigger page-wise than that one. So this is 1,300 pages. And so this one, yeah, first came out in 1981 was the first hardcover edition, a mass market edition in 1986, and it was reissued in 2009. So this one here, yeah, I have not read it. The setting is Hong Kong, 1963. So, well, that's it, and thank you very much for watching.